move with our work. So we were reading current and we were trying to work out circuits on resistors. So here I'll work out a few more questions and then so we have a circuit like this. This is suppose 2 volts. This is suppose 6 volts. This is suppose 6 volts. And then you have suppose this is 2 ohms. This is 3 ohms. This is 1 ohm. This is also 1 ohm. And this is suppose 4 ohms. Okay. See, there are multiple batteries. I have to start from somewhere. There is no problem. I can start from here also. But common sense tells me that look, because this potential is higher, this will have kind of more power. Because it is having more power, it will dictate the circuit and not this. Okay. Both can be dictating. There is no problem. Just that you have to start from somewhere. You have to make a beginning, right? So I am going to make a beginning. So my beginning is going to be that look, the 6 volt is going to determine everything. Okay, it's like this. Now, suppose there is a big river flowing this way, or just begun to flow this way, and there is a small drain going this way. So now when the river water comes here, what will happen? It will just take this over and then it will move on. That's it. Okay. So don't worry about this. There is nothing called as a driver battery. Okay, I use that word, but all that I'm trying to say that I have to start somewhere. So I'm going to start, or common sense tells me you start from the 6 volt battery and don't start from the 2 volt battery. Okay. Now there is somebody who might say that, sir, to me common sense says you start from the 2 volt battery. Perfect, nothing wrong with it. We can start from the 2 volt battery also. If you start from the 2 volt battery, you will get certain currents to be negative. Okay. And if you know how to interpret it, there is no problem. So I repeat again, if you know how to interpret it, there is no problem. So you can start from the 2 volt battery. If you want to start, you can, I made a mistake. Yeah. So I will be starting from the 6 volt battery. That's the way I should do it. Next question, I will start from the 2 volt battery. Okay. So current I goes this way. Then I1 goes this way. Then I2 goes this way. I2 goes this way. I2 goes this way. I2 goes this way. Again, it becomes I here. It becomes I here. It becomes I here. Okay. So first, we can start from any battery. We can start from any battery. Okay. Second, remember, a battery is neutral and will be neutral forever. Okay. Because the battery is neutral and will be neutral forever, current entering is equal to current leaving. Okay. Now this is what I told you yesterday, that a circuit doesn't consume current. Okay. Your fan works not because there is, it is eating current. It is consuming energy. So please understand that. Okay. So I have drawn the current in this particular circuit. Now what I have to understand is, this current I leaving the battery is equal to I1 plus I2. Now this is a equation, right? Yesterday what I did is, because I don't want to write this equation, I took one current as I1 and the other current as I minus I1, which is the way it is. One current is I1, the other current is I minus I1. Okay, there's nothing wrong in it. Yeah. Okay. So now I'll take this particular loop. I'll change my color. I go to this particular loop and I'll try to write the equation. So my equation will look like this. I write my equation in green so that, yeah, so it is 3I1 plus I plus I is equal to 6, or 3I1 plus 2I is equal to 6. Now because I is equal to I1 plus I2, it will become 5I1 plus 2I2 is equal to 6. This is one equation. Now the second equation I would like to work here. So when I work here, so here it is in blue. I have 4I2 plus here also I am losing because I'm going from negative to positive. I'm gaining. I'm sorry. When I'm going from negative to positive, I'll be gaining. So this is equal to 2. Here I am losing. Here I am going to lose. So plus 2I2. Here I am going against the current. Because I'm going against the current, it is becoming negative 3I1. So this equation looks like 2 is equal to minus 3I1 plus 6I2. So I have one equation here and I have one equation here. So here I have an equation. I write that here. So 6 is equal to 5I1 plus 2I2. I multiply this by 3. I'll get 18 is equal to 15I1 plus 6I2. I will subtract this and this. So when I subtract this and this, I'll get minus 18I1 is equal to minus 12. Or I'll get 18I1 is equal to 12. Or I'll get I1 is equal to 2 by 3. Now once I get I1 is equal to 2 by 3, I will get 10 by 3 plus 2I2 is equal to 6, or 2I2 is equal to 8 by 3, or I2 is equal to 4 by 3. So I got I1 is equal to 2 by 3 and I2 is equal to 4 by 3. So this is how I work with Kirchhoff's laws. Okay. Kirchhoff's laws are beautiful laws. You cannot make a mistake. Even if you draw the current different from what I have done, only thing that will happen is the current will come out to be negative. So what does current negative mean? So if a current is going in this direction and it works out to be negative, it only means that the actual current is going in the opposite direction. So that is what negative current means. But otherwise, this is how you work it out. Okay. So please understand these 2 points that I am trying to say. There is nothing called as a driver battery. You can start with both the batteries. You can assume both the batteries give current or supply current. Both the batteries can supply current, but only thing remember, because the battery is neutral, current entering the battery must be equal to the current leaving the battery. Okay. So if you work on it, let me quickly look through your comments. I don't see many today. So why doesn't the current get divided 3 ohms and 1 ohms, and after goes past 2 ohm resistor? Okay. Okay, so after going past, now he is asking why is the current not getting? Oh, it's like drain water. So some water came, some water went this side, some water went this side, some water is again coming back, and I am assuming the combined will go this. Why should the combined go? Because whatever water is going out, the same water has to come back in. So to make that happen, this I is only going to go, and then the same current is going to come. Okay, so current leaving a battery must be current entering the battery. If some part of the current is coming this way, then current leaving won't be equal to current entering. Okay, so that is why it will not go in. Anirudh, suppose you are a team of 10 cops, okay, and you are going to hunt for someone. So the team went this way. So you sent 4 people this way and then you sent 6 people this way. So after they are coming back now 6 people, what will you do with them? Will you send some more people here? You will trust that these guys will go finish the job and then together you will come back. So look at it that way. It's a bad example, not a great example, but just saying. Okay. Yeah, so that is it. Sir, can you please explain this question using the other method also? What? I will do that. I will do that. Yeah. Okay. So I explained to you by taking the current the right way. Now I will take the current the wrong way and then I will still approach it and then we will see. Okay. So I'll just change the question a little bit so that we don't have to. Yeah, like this, like this, like this. So this is 2 ohms. This is 4 ohm. This is 3 ohms. This is 6 volt. This is 2 volt. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all my currents the wrong way. Okay. So I'm marking the currents. So let this current be equal to I1, I. Then it goes I. Then let this current here be equal to I2. So this is I2. So coming this way, let this be I1. So this will become I1 plus I2. Again, going this way is I2. Again, going this way is I1. Okay, so I have taken some currents wrong deliberately. So now let me take this loop. So I'm going this way, right? So here, this is I1. So what do you get here? Here it is I1 plus I2. So here I am going against the direction of the current. So I will gain potential. So 4 times I1 plus I2. Then again I'm going against the direction of current. So plus 3 times I2. Now I'm going from negative to positive. So again I'm going to gain. So plus 6. So this is equal to 0. So now very clearly you have come with a conclusion where minus 6 is equal to 4I1 plus 7I2. Minus 6 is equal to 4I1 plus 7I2. So that is, you see there's something wrong in that equation already, but don't worry. Now I'm going to take a loop this way. So when I take a loop this way, I will get 2I1 plus 4I1 plus I2 is equal to 2. So here it looks like 6I1 plus 4I2 is equal to 2, and I'm getting 4I1 plus 7I2 is equal to minus 6. Yeah. So now I have to solve this. So I'll multiply the first equation with 3 and I'll multiply the second equation with first equation with 2, second equation with 3. So I'll get 12I1 plus 8I2 is equal to 4. I'll get 12I1 plus 21I2 is equal to minus 18. Now plus plus I will subtract. So I'll subtract. So I'll get minus 13I2 is equal to 22. In other words, I'll get I2 is equal to minus 22 by 13. So what do you mean by this minus 22 by 13? It means that the direction of the current will be the exact opposite of what we have said. So now you see, we said the current is going this way. So the actual current is not going that way. The actual current is going this way. So the I2 leaving this battery is 22 by 13. Once I get the value for I2, I can get the value for I1. So you can work on that. Don't make me do that, but this is how you can work. So what I'm trying to tell you is the direction of current is not important. So if that is bothering you, don't worry, you mark something and move on. What is important is writing the equations correctly ability to solve and then make a meaning of the answer. That is what is more important. Yeah. So can you please work this out? Can you complete it? Get the value for I1. I'll come back in a second. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand. Don't worry about my answers. You work it out for yourself. I make a lot of errors. When I look at it with my book, I'll get it right. If I work on a notebook, I'll get it right. But I don't think it's a big error also. I think what I'm saying is correct. So, but you do it. You do it. Okay, so this is the first one and this is the second one. Please work on it. Please complete it. Both the questions, please complete it. My answer for the first one, I don't think is wrong. I think it's fine. Okay, so this is the first one. This is the second one. Yeah, is my screen not visible? Yeah, I'll teach once more, but is my screen not visible? Is my screen visible or not? Okay. Okay, so I'll keep doing questions. You don't worry, you catch what I'm trying to say. I'll do one more question. Okay, so I'll do one more question. So here is a battery, resistor. There is another battery here. There is resistor here. There is a resistor here. There is another battery, and there is a resistor here, and then there is a battery. Okay, so suppose this is 6 volts. Suppose this is 1 volt, and suppose this is 4 volt. Now this is suppose 2 ohms. This is 1 ohm. This is 1 ohm, and this is 2 ohms. Yeah. So the question, let there be a resistor here also. So let that be 1 ohm. So this is the question. The question is, what is the current through each battery? The question is, what is the current through each battery? So if I have to answer that question, how do I go ahead with it? Okay, so again, I don't want to take the 6 volt. I see that makes it easy. The moment you don't get negative answers, no, you get the right feeling that you are right. Anyway, so let this current here be I1. So it is going this way. It is going this way. Let this current here be equal to I2. It is going this way. It is going this way. And again going back is I2. And again going back is I1. Okay, so I have only gone by the condition that current leaving a battery must be equal to current entering a battery. So this is I1 plus I2. So this is the only condition. Okay, other than that, I have not used any other condition. Now let me take the loops and then work with it. So first I take this particular loop and then I work with it. So if I take that particular loop, I'll get I1. I am losing potential, negative to positive. I am gaining potential, and that was 1 volt. So plus 1. Again, I'm going in the direction. So I'm losing potential, 2 I1. Okay, there is a resistor here, I forgot. So minus I1 plus I2, and then again I am going to gain potential. So plus 6 is equal to 0. Yeah. So when there are multiple batteries, you get confused if you write left side, right side. So I prefer to write it in one go. Wherever I am losing potential, where am I losing potential? In the direction of current across a resistor. In the direction of current across a resistor, you lose potential. Then when you're going from negative to positive in battery, you gain. Okay, so all the gains I put positive, all the losses I put negative. So if I write this as an equation, I'll get 6 plus 1, 7. So 7 is equal to I1, 2I1, 3I1, 4I1 is equal to 4I1 plus I2. So this is one equation. Okay, now I want to go this way in this loop and then try to write the equation. So I'll get minus I2, then I've gained plus 1 volt, then minus I1 plus I2, then minus 2 I2 plus 4 is equal to 0. So now I can say 5 is equal to I2, 2I2, 4I2, 4I2 plus I1, I1. So my equations, I have the two equations, I can solve them. So 7 is equal to 4I1 plus I2. So now I have to solve them. So I'll multiply the first one with 4. So I'll get 20 is equal to 16I2 plus 4I1. So I'll subtract. So I'll get 15I2 is equal to 13. So from there, I'll get I2 is equal to 13 by 15. Once I get I2 is equal to 13 by 15, I substitute and get the value for I1. So this is the standard procedure. Yeah. And friends, 100% in board exam, you will get one question. Okay, 100% in board exam, you will get one question for 3 marks. Yeah, so they'll give you a circuit and then they'll ask you to find out what is the current through a specific resistor. So in NCRT exam, you can get 2 batteries. You won't get more than 2 batteries. Same question will appear in your entrance exam with 3 batteries or more. So this is how you proceed. Yeah, so these are all questions based on Kirchhoff's laws. We are applying Kirchhoff's laws and then we are working. Okay, yeah. So if you got it, great. Work on it. Please use your notebooks. Please don't ask me to show you the screens and take screenshots. It's of no use. Try to work with your hand. When you work with your hand, you will see that you will learn so much more. Only then the questions come. Questions won't come if you just take screenshots and then try to say, this is what sir said, this is what sir said. It won't work out like that. So please try to work with your hand. Okay, so if you have understood this, we will move ahead. Okay, so good if you understand this. Next, I will go to further explanation of a Wheatstone bridge circuit. So what is a Wheatstone bridge circuit and how do we go ahead working it out? So this is a typical Wheatstone bridge circuit. Okay, so I have R1 here, I have R2 here, I have R3 here, I have R4 here. Yeah, this is a galvanometer. This is a galvanometer. So this is again a 3-mark question. So this is again a 3-mark question for you. So here you are having a current I. Now that current I will get, it will split. This side comes I1 and suppose this side comes I2. I'll change the color. Then I2, suppose a part of it goes through the galvanometer IG. So from I1, IG is going, so it will become I1 minus IG. Now this IG comes this side and it will join this current and it will become I2 plus IG. Okay, and then again the same current I comes back. Yeah, so this is the circuit for a Wheatstone bridge, and in the first step I drew the circuit and mark the currents. Yeah, I drew the circuit and I marked the currents, and this is what I get. Yeah, now I'm going to apply Kirchhoff's law to the different loops which are possible. So I'll take a particular loop like this, and then I'll try to draw the write the Kirchhoff's equation. So I'll get I2 R3 plus I2 plus IG R4 is equal to V. So here I'm gaining, losing. So I have written this, right? Next I can write I1 R1. I'm going to take this big loop. I1 R1 plus I1 minus IG R2 is equal to V. Then I can take a loop here. How will that loop look like? I1 R1 plus IG RG is equal to I2 R3. Okay. Similarly, I can take a loop like this. If I take a loop like that, I'll get I1 minus IG into R2 plus, so this is, I'm losing here, this is gaining. So I'm going against the current. So if I'm going this way, I'm going against the current. So it will become I2 plus IG into R4 plus, again I'm going against the current, IG RG. Okay, so these two I'm not very interested. I'm going to work with this particular equations. Now a Wheatstone bridge circuit is said to be balanced. A Wheatstone bridge circuit is said to be balanced if IG is equal to 0. The current through the galvanometer is equal to 0. So if the current through the galvanometer is equal to 0, this equation will look like I1 R1 is equal to I2 R3. Okay, and this equation will look like I1 R2 is equal to I2 R4. Now if I simply divide them, I'll get R1 by R2 is equal to R3 by R4. I can cross multiply and say R1 by R3 is equal to R2 by R4. Okay, so in a Wheatstone bridge, if R1 by R2 is equal to R3 by R4, the current through the galvanometer is 0. We assumed the current through 0 and we found out the condition. So now if this condition is met, then this is bound to happen. Okay, so this is what you will have to prove. The question will come, derive the condition for balance of a Wheatstone bridge circuit. So you have to draw the circuit. You don't have to write these equations. You have to write these equations. You have to write the statement that a Wheatstone bridge circuit is said to be balanced if Ig is equal to 0. Then you have to get these two equations, divide one by the other, and you will get the condition for balance. The condition for balance is R1 by R3 is equal to R2 by R4. Okay, before you ask me anything, first make notes, write your notes neatly, and then think about it, and then ask. I will wait for 2-3 minutes for you to ask. So condition for balance for a Wheatstone bridge. So I will explain it again. Okay, so this is the Wheatstone bridge circuit. There is a galvanometer being put here, and there is a power source being put here. So first step, mark the direction of current I, I1, I2. Yeah, so some current is going this side, IG, and then I1 minus IG. Here it will become I2 plus, excuse me, here it will become I2 plus IG. Suppose this is R1, R2, R3 and R4. So here in this loop, I will write Kirchhoff's law equation. So I1 R1 plus IG RG is equal to I2 R4. Here I am going against the direction of current. Against the direction of current, you will gain potential. So I wrote it on the other side. Here I am going to write my equation this way. So when I write my equation this way, I'll get IG RG plus I2 plus IG R3 is equal to, here I am going against. So I am going to write I1 minus IG R2. Okay, this is equation 1. This is equation 2. A Wheatstone bridge is said to be balanced if IG is equal to 0. So if IG is equal to 0, this will vanish, this will vanish, this will vanish, and this will also vanish, and I'll get I1 R1 is equal to I2 R4, and I'll get I1 R2 is equal to I2 R3. So now I'm just going to divide them so that I'll get R1 by R2 is equal to R4 by R3. So R1 by R2 is equal to R4 by R3. So this is a Wheatstone bridge circuit. If this ratio is maintained, then IG is equal to 0. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so think about it, write your notes, work on it for a few minutes, and then we will discuss. So any response? No response? What is it? Is it that you all understood? Is it that you all have slept off? Or is it that I am not there? Okay. So if you all have understood, then we can just understand this again. We can just draw that our old diagrams again and say that, look, if there's a resistor here, there's a resistor here, there is a resistor here, and there is a resistor here. This is not there. And if you have a circuit like this, you will find out if this ratio is equal to this ratio. If ratio 1 is equal to ratio 2. If ratio 1 is equal to ratio 2, then there is no current through this. So now you can find out and you can work on it. So that is what is called as a Wheatstone bridge. But I would like it if you are able to understand the real reason behind this is the fact that this point and this point are at the same potential. So whenever 2 points are at the same potential, then whether you have the resistor in between or not, it's of no use. Okay, so this is very, very important for us. Okay, so I hope you are able to get it. In the direction of current, in the direction of current through a resistor, you lose potential. Okay, if you go opposite, if you go against the direction of current, you gain. Why do you gain? Because current goes from high potential to low potential. So if this is a resistor and the current is going this way, that means A is at a higher potential than B. Now if you're going against it, then what will happen? You will gain. And if you're going in the direction, you will lose. So this is what it is. Okay. So good. I want to put an end to this concept, but I want to put an end to this concept by doing a question, which let us see. So I have a question here. This is R. This is small r. This is some other R1. This is small r. And this is capital R. This was a question which appeared in the JEE Advanced. This question appeared in the JEE Advanced, and the question was, so this question will never come in our board exam. It will never come in our board exam. The question was, what is the effective resistance? Okay, what is the effective resistance? Now, what happened is, many students, they looked at this R by R. They looked at this R by R and they said, look, this is Kirchhoff's, this is Wheatstone bridge. But Wheatstone bridge says if this is R by R and this is also R by R, so that is not R by R. So this is not a Wheatstone bridge circuit. Okay, so here in this particular question, there was one more nice trick that could have been used, but let us see how we can go ahead with it. So I mark my current I. So I1 is going this way, I2 is going this way, I3 will come this way, and here I will have I2 minus I3. Here I'll have I1 plus I3, and the current will be coming back. So all of you, please reach this particular stage. Please work on it and reach up to this stage. This stage is not IIT. This stage is simple NCERT. We are only marking the direction of current. We are only marking the direction of current. So if you understand this, my first equation will look like I is equal to I1 plus I2. So this is my first equation. Then I have a closed loop here. So in this closed loop, I can write equations I2R plus I3R1 minus I1R is equal to 0. So I put this is equal to this. Then I have a loop this way also. So I will get I2 minus I3R. This is the loss. This is gain. This is a gain. So I write it equal to I1 plus I3 capital R plus I3 R1. So if I simplify this one, I will get, okay, so this is equation 1, this is equation 2, this is equation 3. Now you see it will be a big pain. Solving this will be a big pain. It will take us a long time to solve this, but we can solve it. It's not that it is not possible, but it will take us a long time. Let us see what we can do. So the first equation is actually, so I don't like I3, I'll remove I3. No, I can't remove I3. So I have to have all this. So now you see there are how many variables? I is one variable, I1, I2, I3. So I have 3 equations. There are 4 unknowns. So I have to write one more. So let me write the other one. So I'll write the other equation this way. So I'll get V, this is I1 into small r plus I1 plus I3 into capital R is equal to V. Okay. So I can now write V is equal to I1 into R plus capital R plus I3 capital R. So this is one equation, well written. Now the second one, I will simplify this. So what I will get is I'll get an I3R here. So I'll take it to the other side. So I will get, that's a pain. That is the problem now. You know, solving these equations will be a big pain, especially for me. I have lost my patience to be able to do it. But anyway, for your sake, I will try to do is equal to I1R plus I3R plus I3R1. So I want all the i's on the one side, then it is easy. So I'll get 0 is equal to I1R plus I3 R1 R plus R1 plus small r minus I2 into R. Minus I2 into R. So this is one equation. This is the second equation. Then here, now you see I can solve it. It can be solved now. Here you have V I1 I3. So here I have I to R. So now from here I can get I to R in terms of I1, I3, substitute it here and then solve those two simultaneously to get the values of I1 and I3. Once I get I1 and I3, then I can solve for I2 and then I can get it. So this is how you can get it. Can you make some notes, or if you didn't understand, ask me what part you didn't understand. Just a second. Yeah, in starting itself, you could have taken I2 as I minus I1. Yeah, no problem. Even then you will have three equations. Even then you will have three equations and it's a big pain solving this. Okay, so please work, please write down, please draw this diagram, work it out and then reach somewhere. I will wait for 2 minutes and then we will start again. Please digest this. So I'll explain again. So this is R, this is small r, this is some other thing, this is capital R, and this is small r. This is it. So now I'm telling you that, look, this is not a Wheatstone bridge. So you can't work it out that way. So the way to do it is nothing but apply Kirchhoff's law. So suppose this is I, this is I1, this is I minus I1. Then this is I2. Then this will become, okay, yeah, no problem. I minus I1 minus I2. This is I2. This will become I1 plus I2. Then the current will keep going. Now you have, how many unknowns do you have? You have I, I1, I2. Three unknowns are there. So you have to write three equations. So I'll write for this loop. So this loop will tell me I minus I1 into R plus I2 into whatever this R1 is, R1 is equal to I1 into R. So this will give me one equation. Now I have to write an equation here. So I'll take a loop this way. So if I take a loop that way, I'll get I2 R1 plus I1 plus I2 R is equal to I minus I1 minus I2 into small r. Then I'll take another equation this way. So it will become I1R plus I1 plus I2 capital R is equal to V. So I have three equations, three unknowns. If numbers are given, it becomes a little easy. Otherwise, you will have to learn to solve equations with three unknowns. Yeah. To my opinion, to my knowledge, it takes a long time to work on it. I would tread it carefully. I would not just try to do it just like that. So anyway, now you can rearrange them, write down the equations in terms of I1, and then ultimately you get V is equal to some I into R, whatever, R effective. So whatever you get there, that will be the effective resistance of this particular circuit. Okay. So I hope this is understood. Okay. I don't know. Today you guys are very silent. Yeah, there is another method, though I don't want to tell that method. I'll tell. See, the question which came in the exam came with little bit of a difference. The difference is this. Okay. And there was no resistor here. There was an ammeter. So this was 2R. This was R. This was capital R. And this was 2R. This was the, I think this was the question which came in the exam. So in this question, what actually happens is, I'm looking at these as drains. Okay. So some water is going this way. Now this is slightly higher. This is lower. So it has less resistance. This has more resistance. So some I1 goes this way and I2 goes this way. I am asking you, is I1 greater than I2, I1 equal to I2, I1 less than I2? Can you tell me, is A is correct, or B is correct, or C is correct? So all of you seem to be saying that A is correct. Common sense told you that A is correct. Absolutely, A is correct. A is correct because this is having less resistance. See, this is what I want you to do. I want you to picturize resistance as something of that kind, so that you know the moment you see that there is low resistance, you understand that the current here should be high. So R1 is lower, so there will be more current here. So option A is the correct one. Okay. Now high resistance is there. This is low resistance. Now you see current can go this way and current can go this way. This is having high resistance. So what do you think will happen? The current will actually, part of the current will go this way and very less current will go this way. Okay. So the shortcut for this particular thing is, because this is an ammeter has low resistance. If you heard no, no problem, very good. An ammeter has low resistance. If you hear no, very, very good. So what is going to happen is, if there is a current I1 here, that current will be maintained here. Do you understand? So if there is a current I2 here, that I2 will be maintained here. So now you can do it very easily, because now you don't have so many variables. So you have I1, I2, this is I2. So the current here is I1 minus I2, and the current here is same I1. And now the circuits are quite simple, and then you can work on it easily, more easily than before. Do you understand this? So I go to a new page and then I say, look, this is an ammeter. See, the problem with science is that as you keep asking questions, your answers will teach you more and more and more. So sometimes it may be better not to ask questions. Anyway, so if some current I is here, if some current I1 is here, I2 is here, because this is low resistance, the current through this will be the same I1. The current through this will be the same I2. Only if you have low resistance. Okay, because an ideal ammeter has zero resistance. So I2 into R must be equal to I1 into R in this loop. So in this loop, if I2 into small r, I mean whatever into small r, this relationship must be maintained. Only because this ammeter is having zero resistance or close to zero resistance. Okay, so now it becomes a little bit more easy for you to work. So I2R is equal to I1R. In this circuit, you will have I1R plus I2R is equal to V. Is equal to V. Then I can now say that I2 is equal to I1R by capital R. Substitute. So I1 1 plus R by capital R is equal to V. I1 common. Sorry. Oh, no need for all this. I1 into small r plus I1 into small r by capital R. I2 is equal to I1 into small r by capital R into capital R is equal to V. Something is wrong. I don't know. I1 into R, this is equal to V. I2 into capital R is equal to I1 into small r. I'm finding out I2 in terms of I1. I'm finding out I2 in terms of I1 and substituting. Okay, no problem. So I'll get I1 is equal to V by R, 2R. Same way I'll get I2 is equal to V by 2 times capital R. So now I is equal to I1 plus I2. So that will become equal to V by 2 times R plus V by 2 times capital R. Now you take LCM and then take it to the other side. Whatever you get, that will be the effective resistance. So you'll get I is equal to V into 2R plus 2R by 4 times R into small r. So you will get R effective is equal to 2 times capital R into small r by 2 times R plus small r by R plus small r. Because this is equal to 0, now this and this are in parallel. So that's what almost like that only you're getting. Okay, so this is what is the effective one. Yeah, so think about it for a minute and then we will work. Okay, so I think we've done quite a few questions on resistance. If you guys have HC Verma, please work on that. If you don't have HC Verma, don't worry. So I am mostly done with it. Now I just want to work out a few little bit more. I want to take a short break. Oh, my time is over. Okay, so don't worry. So let's go through the slides. We've done quite a bit. Next class, we will work with cells, electrochemical cells. This was the first slide. This is the second slide. This is the third slide. Ayo, I'm too fast. This is the first one. Second one. Third one. Fourth one. Fifth one. Sixth one. Seventh. Eighth. Ninth. Okay, so this is how you work with it, and this is how you work. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, with the 9 slides, we studied a lot. One small thing I forgot to explain, just a second. I was asked a question, what do you mean by equivalent current? What do we mean by equivalent current? So here it is. Suppose you take a proton and then you make it move in a circle. Now a charge is, so you look at any cross section. You see so much charge is moving. Suppose frequency of rotation is f. That means q into f will be moving in 1 second. So much charge moves. Now if so much charge moves in 1 second, what is the current? So I is equal to q into f. So that is called the equivalent current. Equivalent current, when charge, suppose you make me, I hold 2 coulombs and I'm walking at some velocity. So if you look at any cross section, so there will be some charge moving. So whenever charge is moving, there is a current. So the equivalent current refers to that current. So usually for linear motion, they won't talk, they'll talk about it for circular motion. So equivalent current is equal to Q into frequency. Frequency is 1 upon time period. Time period is equal to 2 pi by omega. So current is equal to Q omega by 2 pi. So if a charge Q is moving in a circle with an angular velocity omega, the equivalent current is Q omega by 2 pi. Okay. So good. We learned quite a bit today. Bye bye. See you tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, students.
Yeah.